Hey guys, it's Jason with your Hopium Free Crypto channel. Today we are updating Bitcoin after the big news and bullishness that's come into the market. We really want to take a Hopium Free approach and check out the charts to see exactly where we are at. Also update our bear market Bitcoin buying plan and look at some of the altcoins against Bitcoin value. So if you like the channel and you find value from it, make sure you hit the like button down below, bell notification icon after you've hit the subscribe button. Join me on Instagram and Twitter. Let's dive in. Now, today's video is a wrap up of the live stream we did this morning. If you don't get a chance to check out the live stream as they're happening live, make sure you are subscribed with the bell notification icon so you can see the alerts come up when we go live. Now, the market cap, 1.6 trillion. You guys know by now, if you're following the channel, our halfway point, so the critical point. We're not just calling bull and bear market every time a new piece of news comes out, like El Salvador taking Bitcoin on as legal tender and starting up volcanoes or starting up Bitcoin mining with volcanoes. This sort of stuff is just intermediate, maybe short-term outlooks on the market. What we're looking for is major areas. So the market cap, total cryptocurrency market cap. The 50% zone is $1.34 trillion. That's a very critical hinge for us. We're at 1.6 trillion, so we're in the safe zone. Bitcoin's at 689 billion, with Ethereum at 295 billion. It is losing ground. Ethereum is losing ground against Bitcoin, so we're not going to get that flippening just yet, but it's probably loading up again. And I'll show you that on the charts as well. Now, Cardano is also losing ground against Bitcoin, as are many of the major alts and alts in general. The point here is that when Bitcoin moves at this time in the cycle, in the whole crypto cycle, then altcoins tend to bleed. And that's why we've been talking about since April, since the first signs of the market correcting, looking to consolidate into either stable coins, major cryptos, even though, yes, we will lose some ground against our Bitcoin value. Basically, we want to just protect our portfolio from those levels, of those profitable levels back in mid-April. The other cryptos which have been doing quite well and aren't doing so well at the moment, Polygon Matic has slipped even further. Not to say that these aren't good projects. You guys should get that by now. But I like to keep track of them because they're great projects that I want to pick up, and I do see them coming down a little bit further. Solana is another one on that list, and it's finally just starting to take a little bit of a hit after being extremely strong over these last couple of weeks. Now, let's turn our attention to the Bitcoin dominance. You guys remember we have been looking at the double top, one top, two tops. If I can draw straight, there we go. We have looked at the Gann double top theory, tops to bottom to tops. I was checking for 150 to 160%, as Gann says, 150%. It actually came out to his target of 200%. And that is a good sign of a reversal. That's why I'm looking at this as a bullish move for Bitcoin, which is why I've put out on Twitter as well that I'm not eager to get into altcoins just yet. The point here is that we've got a double top. It's played out to 200% of this range, and that gives us a reversal signal, especially when it's on a long-term time frame. We're looking at macro views now. We're not looking at hourly charts or 4-hourly charts. Nothing small term. We're looking at major moves. The thing to note here is that if this fails, then we get a macro move in the opposite direction. So this is a macro bullish setup at the moment. If this doesn't play out, then we go into a macro bearish move for the dominance, which generally should mean more money into alts, or it could just mean basically more money just sitting on the sideline coming out of Bitcoin and going into stable coins. So right now for the dominance, it looks like we're in a bullish setup. This is a first higher swing bottom just about to come to fruition. Next target is at 46%, then around the 48 and 50%, and then we'll continue to track it from that point. So ideally we get into those 50s, let the dominance play out, and then continue with the bull market. So Bitcoin is at our 50% level yet again. We've bounced off it a few times now. Macro view again. We're not looking at the small term time frame. We want a longer term position. We don't want to get hyped up on the emotion of looking at charts on an hourly basis saying 1 minute's up, next minute's down. I want to have longer term views. So that's why we're looking at our 50% zone. This could be equivalent to someone that prefers to look at, say, moving averages on a longer term time frame, or the RSI, or other longer term timeframes. So we got here 1 close on the weekly, 2 close, 3 closes. Potentially we'll get a move up, and the signal here is that we want to get higher volume by the end of this week. So just make sure you're checking the volume, and we want to see the volume go above the last couple of weeks, especially as our inside week, so not much trading action. The target price is to get at least above 40k, then 41k, so above 41k. Ideally, I want to be above our 50% level, and that is on the downtrend. So we anchor to the top, anchor to the bottom. This is just used as a calculator. Don't worry if I'm using it backwards. It's just a calculator to get the 50% point. And on this chart, we are looking at around 47.5k. I like the look of around the 45k first zone. So we've got 43.5. Then we want to get to that 45k, because that brings us back to these levels that we saw earlier in the bull run. Now let's have a look at the fear and greed index, because of our fear and greed plan that we've come up with just to keep us in the market during these periods, which are the best times to be making the money. It's the scariest times, we know that, but ideally these are the times that we want to be buying. So if there's something that can give us the extra push to be buying when the market is down and not waiting for people to feel less fearful and then continuing to follow the sheep, at least we've got something. We'll have some sort of plan. So this is just a theory. It's not a complete plan. It's not financial advice. It's just a start so that we can make some money from this bull market and then learn when to get out as well. So extreme fear today is 21. It's not a day to buy. Yesterday it was at 14. All I'm looking at here is the number to be 15 or under, and the 9th was 14. Today's 21, so it's not a buy day. An update, looking at the chart. These are the days that we've been looking at. There was a couple back here in May as well. You can see that on the previous video. So if you aren't subscribed or following the channel, make sure you are as well. Yesterday, or the 8th, and then open on the 9th, that data came through. So they're our buy points through here. And that gives us data of $361 profit at the moment. And of course, this is longer term. So we're not concerned at the moment. If this happens to sink to a $25,000 Bitcoin, no worries, we're not that concerned, but we can put the data in here to see what the result would be, so that we're not freaked out. Like, we have the potential to lose a couple of grand and be down 30%. We also have the potential to go up to a $100,000 Bitcoin and come up with 14.5 grand and 180% in profit. So that's the sort of thing that we use a plan for. Speaking of plans, there is the Investor Insider. If you haven't subscribed to this, it's a free newsletter that we put out regularly. Make sure you drop your email address and name down below. Just click the link and you'll get the Investor Insider update. So we go through cryptos, we go through Bitcoin, and this was a post that I put up to the Investor Accelerator crew last night before the market took off. You can see that here on Facebook. And there were a few guys in the group that also bought Bitcoin at that time, because they're starting to understand how the markets are working using the course and doing some of their own research and study. So congratulations to those guys as well. And if you want to be part of that, of course, you can join the Investor Accelerator group down below. If you're not ready yet, not interested, there's also the free newsletter. So make sure you drop your details down below for that. Now onto the major alts against Bitcoin. ETH has had a tumble. So like we've talked about, you've probably seen already, if we go through the cycles, as Bitcoin climbs, the alts tend to lose value against Bitcoin. And that's what I'm seeing now. That's why I'm just focused on one thing, and that's putting fresh money into Bitcoin, not into the alts. I'm happy. I'm patient. I can do that. It's just what I've built up over time. I'm happy to be patient and wait for those situations to come up, which give me a better return. So right now, fresh money is into Bitcoin for me. Same deal with Cardano. We've just fallen short of the tops. As I talked about in yesterday's video on Cardano, the update, we were looking weak against Solana and stronger against ETH and Bitcoin at the time because we're at the highs, but it was just looking like it wasn't going anywhere with the volume breaking down. So the strength was going to come if we broke through the tops, which weren't very far away. So that was about 3%, and then the all-time high was around 7.5% away. However, we've broken down past the swing bottom, and so that signals to me that we've probably got a little further to go again and continue to consolidate. This is just Cardano against BTC. Against the dollar value, different story. It's just consolidating at these levels between $1.40 and $1.80. It has been rejected a couple of times off the bearish 50% zone, but overall, we're still well and truly up from these old previous highs. So that's a good sign for Cardano moving forward. that's the update for Bitcoin and the cryptos. Bitcoin is looking reasonably okay at this point. I'm not 100% sold on this move, like we talked about today as well. Looking for several breaks. We need to get the breaks above these very strong bearish bars. These were around 43.5K. So we need to start getting closes above that to be flipped strongly bullish. Long-term bullish. Short-term, this is just bounced off news, in my opinion, and it's not set that we are going well and truly up past the all-time high. So they're the differences here. I still see this as part of the Wyckoff accumulation zone. It's going to freak people out. It's going to try to wash them out, get up to new levels of 40K, and then dump again on them. That's what happens with the whale buying. They buy low so they can have some extra to dump the market and scare the market back again. That's the way it works. So if you're unfamiliar with that, check out Wyckoff method, and that will explain how the volume works here. It doesn't mean that we just go straight up. They need to be shaking the market a fair bit. On that note, check out my Twitter. Join us over here. We are talking daily about cryptocurrencies. Also Instagram. I've got daily Q&As, as you can see in the story. So if you want to ask your questions, now is your time. The questions are now live. So jump over to Instagram, follow me over there and ask your questions. And that basically wraps us up for another video. Update of Bitcoin, update of the major cryptos. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and on the channel, of course. So make sure you liked, subscribe, and share the content with someone that you think is going to find it valuable. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video or on the newsletter. You can also sign up to that. See you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.